Oh, sorry everyone, just enjoying a little tunage here. I want to go ahead and clarify our responsibilities for Monday and Tuesday. Of course, today is Tuesday, so these are the responsibilities we need to have completed by midnight tonight. So I'm going to click on the modules, and I'm going to scroll down to week 2, Monday, Tuesday. So the first item, many of you have already done so, but if you haven't, this is the first thing I would like you to do is complete the student feedback survey. The items in here are meant to help me gain an understanding of how things are going for you guys in the class. Now, normally in a face-to-face learning environment, I can judge pretty well based on facial expressions and, just the kind of day-to-day interactions we might have if things are going well or not. However, in online course, we have a big disconnect, right? So this is a way for me to gain a little bit of insight into how things are going for you. So please respond to every question here. Most of the questions are a multiple choice. So you just respond to the question as you see most appropriate. And then there are 3 questions that ask you to provide a short written response, just so that I can gain a little bit of insight in there. So please do that first. Now I've included the reading response questions guidelines again here just to make sure that we're all aware of how to approach the reading response questions. And let me click on this just to show you. So you can view the document here, or you can click on the Google Docs link if you'd prefer to open it in Google Docs. I know some of us might prefer that, but I've also included an explanatory video at the bottom. So if you haven't done so already, this is really, really important. Please watch the video. Please read through these guidelines carefully to make sure that you're approaching these activities um, adequately, right? So make sure that you do so. Set yourself up for success. So let me go ahead and click back out here. So we have a set of reading response questions for the short essay called On Structure. It's the first essay in the chapter called Organizing, pages 195 through 203. And again, the practice sessions are included in the page range because I want you all to read the practice sessions. Even if we don't necessarily do the practice sessions, it's important to read through them because they offer a little bit more clarification and understanding into the concepts and ideas that Miller and Jurecic are talking about in each of the sections. Now, it just so happens that we're actually doing one of the practice sessions, and I'll get to that in a moment. So I've included the video for the guidelines, the reading response questions guidelines. So it's there again. If you didn't see it in the other section, you can see it here. So we have a few reading response questions for this particular section. So again, just to reiterate, it's important that you're including specific quotations from the reading in order to help you respond to these questions. So you also want to offer a little bit of explanation of why those particular quotations or that particular quotation adequately responds to the question. Okay. So let me go ahead and click back out. Okay, so the practice session that you all will complete, and some of you have already done so, which is great, is practice session 1, part 1, and it's called Structure After the Fact. And you can find the instructions for this practice session in our textbook, Habits of the Creative Mind, on pages 200 through 202. Okay, so you're going to want to carefully read through what the practice session is getting at. So you read through those instructions, and you're going to use your draft that you all submitted. So you submitted draft 1. You're going to use that draft as the subject of this practice session. So you're going to follow along with what Miller and Jurecic are talking about in that practice session, and you're going to use your draft to do so. So you're going to need to have either index cards or post-it notes, or you could just cut out pieces of paper. Okay, so you're going to follow along and complete the practice session as they say, and then they want you to write a report. So that report should be at least 250 words in length, just to make sure that we're being thorough enough and we're really actually working with this activity in a meaningful way. Now, the purpose of this practice session is to help you think about what you need to continue to work on as you revise and compose draft 2 of Major Essay Project 1. So let me go ahead and click back out here to get to that. Okay, so draft 2, it's still the same Major Essay Project 1. This is just the latest version of it, okay? So we're still working on it. I understand things are still not as fine-tuned as they will hopefully be by the polished draft, but we're working toward that, right? So this draft needs to be at least 3 full pages in length. Okay, so what that means is you're going to want to expand those ideas that you already began to explore in your first draft. Okay, now some of the, or many of us decided to talk about several different values that we have in our first draft, but we want to focus on only one. Okay, we don't want to talk about 2, 3, or 4 different values we have and talk about each one. We want to focus on the most important. What is the most important value you have? That is going to be the key thing you explore in this draft, okay? So what is that value? How are you defining this value? So again, what goes into the definition of this? Are you taking different parts from different people's definitions of the value in order to create your own, which is fine? Or are you kind of developing it for yourself? That's fine as well. But you're going to want to define it for your reader, okay? So how are you defining whatever that value is, right? We want to make that clear for our readers. We also want to explore how our experiences and personal history have influenced the development of this value, okay? So the things that we hold to be important in our life are dictated by our experiences, right? The things that we've gone through, whether positive or negative or maybe something other, the people that we meet, how we've grown up, what we've been raised to believe in many cases. Maybe we've had an experience that kind of made us think differently about something in a new way. Whatever the case is, you're going to want to explore how your experiences and personal history have influenced that value, okay? So again, use what you learned in practice session 1, what you submitted or what you should have submitted before you continue to work on draft 2. Use that to help you think about the structure of your essay, right? Play around with the structure a little bit. It doesn't need to be in linear fashion, like chronological fashion, where it's the first thing and then the second thing and third thing and fourth thing. Play around with the structure. See if there's some kind of interesting way you can structure it so it's more captivating for your audience. So I'm encouraging you to do that. Take some risks. In many of the drafts that I read, you guys are beginning to provide specific examples, specific details, but we need to expand on those quite a bit, right? And because this draft needs to be at least 3 full pages, you're going to want to add a little bit more specificity, more details, more explanation. Again, we want to continue to use paragraphs to help organize our ideas. Don't just create a big, long wall of words. Paragraphs are important. Even though we're not writing a 5-paragraph essay, doesn't mean that we're getting rid of paragraphs altogether. They still matter. But we don't need to think of it in just the limiting fashion of having our intro paragraph that has the hook with our thesis with our 3 main reasons, and then we have our 3 body paragraphs with each exploring one of those 3 reasons, and then finally, just in case our reader didn't remember, summarizing. We don't need to do that, right? Remember, that's like the training wheels, and we're moving beyond those training wheels. Kick those training wheels off. Have fun. Use the full potential of your bike. And bike in this case is the analogy I'm using for our essays, right? But there's a lot more we can do with it if we kick those training wheels off. So again, this should be 3 full pages in length, and that's double spaced. Okay, it doesn't need to be single spaced or not more than double spaced, so not 2.5 or 3 triple spaced. That's too much, but double spaced. And if it doesn't reach that, then you're going to need to revise or submit and resubmit. So make sure you take care of that ahead of time. This right here, because I'm on student view, so disregard this. But you're going to submit the file just as you did your first draft, and we'll go from there. Now, I've mentioned that I went through your first drafts and I provided feedback on those of you who submitted on time. Let me show you just real briefly how to access that just in case. Now it's going to be a little bit different because I'm using this kind of student view and I didn't actually submit a file. But let me go ahead and show you. So on the left side you see there's the different tabs, right? You can click on assignments and then it will have all the assignments listed out. So you're going to go to Major Essay Project 1, Draft 1, and you'll click on that. Now again, mine looks different because I didn't actually submit a file. So you should be able to open it up and turn it in, and then that's how you can view that feedback. Alright y'all, well if you have any questions, please let me know. Send me a message on Canvas. In addition to that, if you need a little bit more time to work on this draft, I understand. All you need to do is send me a message and ask for that, okay? But do that before midnight tonight, not tomorrow, okay? Before. That's the policy for late work. All right, y'all. Well, happy writing, and I'm looking forward to reading these next drafts.